So today I'm going to talk about Saint Theodora. So give me a second. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me switch over. All right, here we go. So you guys can all see. So right here is a picture of Saint Theodora. This is a mosaic. It's actually an art piece, which I'll be talking about later today, but it is still exists till today. So who is Saint Theodora? Well, Saint Theodora is one of the most important, well-known women saints in our church. She was born about 500 AD. And her father, as a matter of fact, was a Syriac Orthodox priest. She got married to Justinian. And Justinian's uncle was Justin, who was the emperor of Byzantium. So I'm going to flip over right here. I'm showing you guys a map. So here, if you look at the map, and this is back in the 500 AD period, if you look at the, whoops, here we go. If you look at the orange, anything orange represents the Byzantine Empire by 527. And then the yellow in the symbol box was added to the Byzantine Empire by 565. So this was all the Byzantine Empire. So what do you notice? Where is this map? What are we looking at? Which continent?
We're looking at Europe and Asia.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at Europe. Here's Europe around here. So that's where the Byzantine Empire was. So her husband's uncle was the emperor of Byzantine. So you guys have a geographical idea of where he ruled. Her husband, Theodora's husband, Justin, took her to Constantinople. Constantinople is in Turkey, and it was the capital at that time. And he promised, Justin, he promised her father that she can keep practicing her religion, which was the Syriac Orthodox faith. But you guys need to understand that because she wanted to practice the Syriac Orthodox faith, it was the opposite of what the Byzantine Empire practiced, because they believed in the Chalcedon, other religions, other beliefs. But he was a very nice man, and so he let his wife, Theodora, continue to practice her Syriac Orthodox faith. But then, in 527, her husband's uncle, Justin, remember, he passed away. So guess who became the emperor? Emperor became Justin, Saint Theodora's husband. So Justinian became the new emperor. When Justinian became the new emperor, he allowed his wife to help him take care of the empire. And so she was very active in the government, how the empire should be run, how the people should be treated. And in the past, women were actually not really participating in how the government or how the empire was run. So for Theodora to help her husband Justinian rule the Byzantine Empire was a very, very, very big step for women at that time. So she changed a lot of things in history because she helped her husband Justinian rule the Byzantine Empire. She actually held her position for more than 20 years. So she was a very strong woman. She was very talented because she helped her husband rule the empire. She even served as his advisor. She advised him on how to take care of the empire. And he would ask her what changes they should make to make it a better and stronger empire at that time. Remember, we're talking the 500 period. But then her husband, Justinian, got sick. When he got sick, she took over. Theodora ruled the empire alone until her husband, Justinian, was healthy again. And so she established laws that would help women. At that time, women were not allowed to own property. Only men were allowed to, like houses, buildings. So she passed a law that would allow women to own property. So we call her a pioneer, a noble pioneer of the women's liberation movement. What does liberation mean, guys? Who can tell me? What do you think the word liberation means? Anyone want to try? Take an educated guess? I have the word highlighted here. What does the word liberation mean? When you liberate.
Freedom.
Freedom, exactly. So she helped women become more free over time, have more power, have more rights. That's what Saint Theodora did over time, while she helped her husband Justinian, and during the time that she ruled the empire by herself. What else did she do? Besides making some new laws and helping women gain more rights, she actually built hospitals and convents. What is a convent? It is a place of refuge for homeless women. So women that did not have a house, women that did not have money, women that did not have a family, they would go to a place called a convent. And so Saint Theodora was responsible for taking care of those women as well as building hospitals. So as you see right here, Saint Theodora was a very, very, very important woman saint in our church. Her father was a priest. She helped her husband Justinian rule the Byzantine Empire. She helped establish laws, gave women more rights, built hospitals, built convents to take care of homeless women. And the entire time, she always kept her faith. She always kept her strong relationship with God. She never forgot her Syriac Orthodox roots, her origin, her family or friends. It was who she was, her character as a person. The entire time she was during her role in the government. As the empress, because her husband was the emperor, she was given the title empress. The church was going through some hard times. There were priests, there were monks, there were nuns that were getting persecuted, that were getting killed for their faith. So what she did was she used her power to protect the fathers of the church. For example, when monks and priests were getting persecuted or killed, she came to their rescue. What did she do? She used the palace. There was a palace in the Byzantine Empire. The name of the palace is Hormizda, the Hormizda Palace. And she kept the priests and the monks, not only Syriac, but also Greek Orthodox. She kept more than 500 Syriac and Greek men safely there. So she opened the doors of the palace to protect them from the bad people that were going to kill them or beat them up. So she opened the doors of the palace because she was the empress. she had the power to do that, she kept the 500 Syriac and Greek Orthodox men there. What did they do in return? They blessed her. They prayed for her. That's what they did for Saint Theodora. Because she did so much for them, she kept them from harm. She kept them from evil. She kept them safe. And so she received the blessings of these fathers and monks. After that, during the rest of her life, Saint Theodora, she changed the capital of Constantinople with the help of her husband, Justinian. She built it into a city for many, many centuries. We know a century is 100 years. So for many centuries, it was known, Constantinople was known as one of the most wonderful cities in the world. Why? Well, Saint Theodora, besides building hospitals and convents, Saint Theodora is also known for building aqueducts, bridges, and more than 25 churches. Imagine, we're talking about, the 530 AD period, the 550 AD period. We're talking thousands of years ago. Imagine at that time, a woman was able to do all of this. Because at that time, men were usually the ones that were known to be the rulers, to be the strong ones, to be the ones that have all the rights. So Saint Theodora changed that. She became a liberator. She became a freedom fighter for women to have a more stronger role from that point forward. So as I shared today, she did a lot for history. And so therefore, Saint Theodora is a very, very important saint, female saint, in our Syriac Orthodox Church. When did she die? She died on June 28th, 548 AD. So her feast, you guys know that our church has a calendar. And on June 28th every year, we remember Saint Theodora every June 28th. So it's coming up later this month. Her body was buried in the Church of the Holy Apostle, which is one of the grand churches that her and her husband built in the city of Constantinople. So she was buried in one of the very own churches that she built with her husband. What a blessing, how wonderful is that? And if you go to Italy today, the country of Italy in Europe, there is a mosaic piece of art that is created in her memory. And that was this mosaic that I showed you in the very beginning of the Bible study. So if you go to Italy, this is the mosaic you would find. Okay? So that is about Saint Theodora. I'll stop right now. Any questions for me about her? Anybody have any questions?
No.
We're good? So
Yeah.
what does that tell us about women? Over time, women of faith, because it's remember, during the entire time of her life, even though she helped govern the empire, faith was always an important part of her life. She had a great impact on others. And honestly, guys, if you take the Holy Bible and you look at the Holy Bible, there are a lot of stories about women in the Holy Bible. You've got the book of Ruth, you've got the book of Esther, you've got the story of Mary Magdalene, which I covered with you. I covered with you the story of Saint Barbara. But who's the most important of all females? Who can tell me?
The Virgin Mary?
Yes, the Virgin Mary, the Mother of God. She was given that title. She is the most highest, noble, most humble female saint of all time. She is the most honored. And so there are many, many stories of female saints in our church that you guys should learn about because they influenced our church history and the generations to come. Question, based on what I read to you today about Saint Theodora, how did she put her faith into action? Who can tell me? How did Saint Theodora put her faith into action?
She took care of the monks and priests.
Yes, she took care of the monks and the priests in the palace. Good. What else? Another example, guys. Come on.
She built many hospitals.
Yes, she built many hospitals. So she housed, she protected the priests and the monks in the palace. She built hospitals. What else did she do?
She built over 25 churches.
She built over 25 churches. And
She was a liberator.
she was a liberator. She helped women gain more rights, more freedom, ownership of property. And what was the other thing that I mentioned? What was the vocabulary word that I talked about? The place to help house homeless women.
Liberation?
No, starts with a C.
Church.
Nope. Not church.
Convents?
Convent.
Convents.
She built a convent. So that took care of homeless women. So there's so much to learn about Saint Theodora. And that is my story about her today. Okay. So I've got some boys here and some girls here. So let's have a boy-girl talk right now. All right. We're in the 2020. That's the year we're in right now. How has our church changed? What is the difference of our church now and back then? How can men and women or boys and girls serve in the church? What are some similarities and what are some differences?
Girls can go on the altar.
Okay, girls cannot go on the altar. What else? Similarities or differences? You got to say a similarity is, or
They
a
both go to church.
yeah, yes, we can go both to church. Come on, a little more detail, guys. Can both boys and girls or men and women serve the church?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay, how can we serve the church?
Keep it safe.
No, how can we serve the church is my question.
Donation.
Besides money, we're going to keep our focusing on serving the church. Yes, you can donate money
Praying.
to the church. Prayer is your individual. I'm talking serving the church, taking action,
Tell people about God.
help people learn more about God. Okay, so you mean
Taking communion.
teacher, right? Teaching others. All right, what else?
Wait, what was the question?
How can you put your faith into action at the church? We have teaching others. What else?
Taking communion.
No. Taking communion is you yourself as an individual. But how can you serve the church besides being a teacher? What other things can you do? What do you see when you go to church?
The priest.
Okay, boys.
You can serve in the choir.
Okay, you can serve in the choir.
You can be a deacon.
You can become a monk or a priest or a deacon. What was the name of the saint that established the first women's choir?
Saint Ephraim.
Saint Ephraim. Yeah, Saint Ephraim was the saint that established the first women's choir. That's right. All right, what else? What are other ways we can serve the church? Choir, deacon, become a monk, become a priest, donate, teach. What else?
Participating.
How?
Like,
In ceremonies?
What do you mean by, I heard someone say participating, and then I heard someone say ceremonies. Tell me more, guys. Come on, give me in sentences.
I don't really know at this point.
Yeah, you do. Think.
We can participate by singing along the hymns during
Oh.
church.
Yes, helping in the choir. What about taking care of the church physically? Can you help your church stay clean?
Yeah.
Can you help, where when you walk into a church, into the corridor, the hallway, where there's candles and people go pray? Can we help serve the church in that way? Lighting the candles,
Yeah.
keeping the church clean,
Yeah.
right? Those are all ways to help it. Maybe, have 2 or 3 Sundays per year where you go clean the church. You go wipe the pews. You know what a pew is? It's the benches that you sit on.
Kind of.
The correct word is a pew. You can go wipe the church, clean the church, vacuum the church. It doesn't have to be something big. It could be little acts, little steps, but they're all ways of serving God, putting your faith into action. What about going and giving to the poor, giving to the needy, taking them food?
Yeah.
Can you get together with a group of teenagers your age and say, hey guys, I think we should do something like that. I think each of us can bring 5 cans of food and then we go donate it to a local shelter. That's another way of putting our faith into action. You ever hear the Bible verse, faith without works is dead?
No.
There's a very important Bible verse, look it up. Faith without works is dead. It's in the New Testament. You can have faith. I have faith. You have faith. We all have faith. But if we don't put our faith into action, like Saint Theodora, then how are we really, sharing our faith or giving our faith to others? Because that's what Jesus commanded us to do. That's one of his commandments, is not be selfish. Jesus himself was humble. Saint Theodora was humble. She was an empress. She was a ruler. She had all the money, all the power. But all throughout her life, she always remembered her faith. And she protected the church and protected those that served it. Got the lesson for today? Any questions so far?
No.
All right, you guys ready to play Kahoot?
Yeah.
All right, this Kahoot is going to be from before. It's going to be the one that I did. So let's see how you guys are going to do. Give me a second. Let me load it up.
Are we gonna skip a lot of questions or no?
Nope. All right. Let me share my screen. Give me a second.